Patron Mitchell. I decided to do my video interview with Doug Hurling, who is the Vice President of Central Maine Power, and he is currently a client that I work directly for on a daily basis. I'm the program manager for one of those big projects in Maine. So in this photo, I'm standing next to Doug. He's in the middle, and the guys around him and myself are actually all Burns & Mac employees that work directly for him at Central Maine Power. This photo was taken at a completion party. We celebrated the completion of one of the biggest jobs that the state of Maine has ever seen, biggest construction projects. So Doug has been with Central Maine Power for 30 years. He went to Maine Maritime and graduated from there. He is originally from Maine. He's a very down-to-earth guy. He likes hunting and fishing. He has a camp up north, like every proper Mainer. And this is his dog Grace on the right here. And he has a wife, Linda, and a daughter who is graduating from Colby this year. I've known him for 4 years, and he is a very genuine person who very quickly earns the respect of all the other people around him. People at work rarely just know Doug at work. They always seem to know something about who he is as a person, or a little bit about, they know a little bit about him personally. So I approached Doug a little while ago and asked him if he'd be willing to help me with this project, and he happily agreed. So we met for breakfast, I guess it was the week before Thanksgiving, and I asked him quite a few questions about MPRP and the significant changes it brought to Central Maine Power and challenges that Doug encountered on the way. So CMP in the past has always run their projects and substation upgrades and transmission line construction work in-house for years. They've been doing this for many, many years, and they have the staff on hand, the expertise, the project managers, the construction managers, all that to do it. Well, MPRP came along back in 2010, and it was a $1.4 billion transmission bulk power upgrade. So essentially 450 miles of transmission, 6 brand new substations, 7 significant rebuilds of substations, and a total price tag of $1.4 billion. So needless to say, Central Maine Power does not have the management staff in-house to run a project like this. It's a huge undertaking. So CMP is understaffed. They saw a need, so they brought in Burns & McDonnell, who would essentially operate as their program manager, or as the owner, and they would manage this $1.4 billion project for them. So the challenge was, Doug had to communicate to his employees in Central Maine Power that Burns & Mac are now the decision makers, and they're the ones that are going to be running this project. CMP employees need to trust Burns & Mac employees, and they had to take Burns & Mac's decisions on behalf of Doug. They had to trust that we are acting on Doug's behalf. CMP assigned a 3-person team to this project, and that's it. So the rest of it was supplemented by Burns & McDonnell. Our tasks included things like engineering, reporting, document controls, GIS, all sorts of things. So this next slide, I'm actually going to show you a quick video that gives you a feel for what the project is, and that way you can understand the change maybe a little bit more.
Nature perhaps has played the greater hand in shaping the Maine character. It was in this rugged and intensely challenging environment that CMP began as a small power company with one dam in 1899. For over a century, CMP has played a pivotal role in the modernization of Maine, leading the way for the creation of an international electrical system comprising eastern Canada and the northeastern United States. And that leadership continues today, as CMP embarked on the largest single transmission investment, not only in Maine history, but also in the history of the entire six-state New England region, called the Maine Power Reliability Program.
The way the system was being operated was changing. We did a lookout for 10 years. We had hundreds of possible disturbances we looked at based on the criteria that FERC requires. We'd have to make sure we met the reliability standards for any of those combinations. So we knew we were going to need something significant, but we didn't have an idea of the magnitude.
Taking all of this into consideration, CMP began intensive study and planning for the Maine Power Reliability Program in 2006. Construction for the project began in August of 2010 and will continue until 2015. It represents a $1.4 billion investment in CMP's transmission capacity. More than 450 miles of new and rebuilt high-voltage transmission lines will be constructed. More than 8,000 wooden poles will be set, and 2,150 miles of wire strung. 5 new substations, larger than any existing in Maine, will be built, and more than 4 dozen other substations will be expanded or improved. Upon completion, the MPRP will dramatically increase the reliability of CMP's existing bulk transmission grid, keeping the lights on for generations to come.
So that video gives you an idea of the magnitude of the project and the task in front of Doug as far as what he had to lead CMP through. So the themes that Doug really focused on during our interview was these things listed here: respect, and that respecting all the people around you is primary. You know, without giving respect, you're not going to get respect, and people will not function if you don't get that out. And you know, that's something that comes very naturally to Doug. He doesn't need to try on that. He does respect people. He is probably one of the most well-respected leaders that I've ever encountered. I don't think I've ever heard somebody speak negatively about him, which is hard to believe. The next theme is consistency. He felt it was very, very important to continue saying the same thing to all the audiences, and the more they hear it, the more they hear the same consistent message, the more likely they are to get on board and to believe it. So Burns and McDonnell is his voice, and he trusts the Burns and Mac team, and the more he said that to his counterparts at CMP, they started to trust Burns and McDonnell as well. Transparency. He would provide updates to CMP, and he would educate them as to what we're doing, what the project was doing, and why Burns and Mac is here and why it's important. And you know, I think that really helped get a lot of the people on board, just because they felt like he was being open and transparent about what's going on. And then the last bullet is really, you know, it was up to us, up to Burns and Mac, to build this top-notch team that could support Doug and make him successful. So he can, you know, have as much respect and consistency and transparency as he wants, but if we're not performing and, you know, not holding up our end of the deal by getting the job done well and efficiently, you know, he's not going to have any ground really to stand on. So surrounding him with good people to make him successful, you know, and I shouldn't take any credit for that. And when I say I mean Burns and Mac, it was really Doug that drove the quality and the caliber of the team around him. MPRP started back in 2010 when we actually started construction. You know, the permitting and all that process started well before that, but Burns and McDonnell and the major construction work started in 2010, and it just finished this year, so it's a 5-year undertaking. You can see one of the substation sites in the bottom left of this slide, and then a very lengthy mat road in a 2-line corridor on the upper right. So there's actually, this is kind of interesting because this change is something that is actually going to be somewhat reversed. So Burns and McDonnell is phasing off now that the project is done, and we're turning over all these new facilities to Central Maine Power and to their operations and maintenance group. So we are responsible to train everyone and get them up to speed as to, you know, the new technology that's installed in the substations, and, you know, the miles and miles of new transmission lines, and what the operation and maintenance challenges are going to be. So we're handing this back to CMP and to their existing staff to take care of, you know, all this new infrastructure. So it really is up to Doug to lead CMP back through this change, just in the opposite direction. So that's one of his challenges here moving forward. And, you know, we're still around, our team is still around doing some deferred projects, so we'll be there to support him in that effort.
My name is Mark Goodwin. I'm from South Portland, Maine.
My name's Kyle McCabe. I'm from Elton, Maine.
My name's Bruce Estes. I'm from Wyndham, Maine.
My name's Amy Allward, and I'm from Madison, Maine.
My name is Gail Turnlott, and I live in Wilton, Maine.
Jeff Fay from Gorham, Maine.
My name is Jeff Nickerson. I'm from Palmyra, Maine.
My name is David Saucier. I'm from Greenbush, Maine.
Robert Binkham from Monmouth, Maine.
I'm Chris McKinney from Saco, Maine.
From Elliott to Orrington, Lewiston to Rumford, locals are helping to build a stronger, smarter grid for Maine.
I'm an electrical engineer.
I am a technical admin.
Project engineer.
I'm a journeyman lineman. A construction superintendent.
Community relations specialist.
I'm a driver groundman.
I'm an assistant project manager. I'm a field mechanic.
I'm an electrical field engineer.
I'm a construction superintendent.
I'm a project manager.
I'm a project engineer and scheduler, and I am the MPRP.
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 The most significant takeaway I had from my discussions with Doug, you know, it seems simple, but it really is that you need to surround yourself with good people, and people who are excited and invested in what you're doing. And without that, you're really not going to be able to get anything done. You can make a significant impact if you surround yourself with people. So one of his quotes from our discussion is, "You can do anything with people around you." And basically, alone, you cannot do nearly what we can do with a good team. So, you know, building a team, getting people motivated, motivating the elephant, and, you know, shaping the path and all that is so important. So this last video just gives you a little bit of insight into some of the pride that the workers and personnel on this project had for what they were doing.